Person there with a hand up. Could you stand up, gentleman with glasses? Thank you. Could you
Hi,
just give your name and...
Yeah, I'm Wang Liang. I'm a student participant from China. When you mentioned about Asia as one of the giants, you mentioned the strength of Asia lies in diversity. But as my question is, as the foreign minister to be, as you said, the right chemicals turn the diversity into strength. As the next foreign minister, what kind of chemicals do you think you can provide to trigger the growth in Asia, not only in the economic field, but also in political field? Thank you.
That's a very good question, and that gave me another inspiration. Thank you. I think Europe it was mentioned today that the culture, it was one of its strengths. And although the culture of Asia may be very diverse, but there are certain similarities. And if we focus on the similarities of culture, I think politically we would be more successful than today. And to do that, there are certain, particularly between China vis-a-vis Japan, there are certain problems that we have to overcome, which Europe has done already. That is, France and Germany have went to war several times. United Kingdom and Germany have went to war several times. But they have overcome these historical differences or difficulties. I guess what we have to do in the Asian region, particularly vis-a-vis China, is to overcome the historical difficulties at the same time focusing on cultural similarities. Thank you.
Listen, right at the back down there.
My name is Andrei Krasильnikov, a participant from Russia. Would like to ask a question about the political decision-making in Japan, because we know that economy-wise, Japan has always been very rational, its decision-making. But in politics, so much has been done irrationally, or at least something that is very hard to make out from the European or from any point of view from outside Japan. If you should become a Minister of Foreign Affairs in Japan, would you like Japan to stick to the reason and, like in Europe, start welcoming foreign immigrants, laborers from the Philippines, from Indonesia, from the same China, or you would kind of stick with the idea that Japan should remain homogeneous and even at the expense of the economic growth? Thank you.
Thank you very much for your question, and particularly mentioning that political decision-making in Japan may be irrational compared to the business sector. That's why I'm in the opposition. As to answer your question, it is a very tough challenge for us, but I think we have to go through that. That is to accept immigrants from many countries. And as I mentioned, if we are shifting towards competition for talented individuals, it is not just competition for talented individuals. It is how to create a society where everyone has equal opportunity. In other words, if there is certain discrimination among the society, then it's not going to work. And therefore, to attract immigrants, be it on the simple labor or the talented labor from any country, we have to open up our immigration market. And I think that's what I would have to do. And I have been telling the people in my constituency about the need for that. Thank you.
We have one final question. Major Kirana, Major General Kirana.
Mr. Minister, you talked about the competition for talent. Now, the talent will flow wherever they get the better options. Isn't that going to lead to a dichotomy in the development of various countries? Because the very countries which need better talent are possibly the countries which are developing. And if their talent goes away to the developed world, there is going to be a big competition, there's going to be a big discrimination. How is that going to help this globalized economy that we are looking at? Maybe counterproductive. Thank you.
That's a very good point. And that's why I mentioned in my presentation that if certain country has invested in their people through education, and if they lose their talent, that would be very counterproductive. And that's why I think we need to come out with certain policy organization. But this is very difficult because on the one hand, we would like to provide liberty for everyone, freedom of choosing where to live. But on the other hand, as you have mentioned, that countries may have invested in their own talents so that they could be a talented person. To balance this will be, I guess, the next question for the global society. And I guess I can say that, only that today, but I hope to come out with the answer when I become the real minister.
Can I say thank you very much for that address, and thank you for your sensitivity to globalization and integration.